Hi again, hello YouTube. I'm back at it again, and this time I'm gonna commentate. I'm pretty sure you've probably seen my previous ones or some shit already, or maybe you haven't seen it yet. But this is like a kind of like a commentary series or some shit that I'm planning to do alongside with my so-called crash course Faa video, which I made like a generic perspective on that. So for this specific video, I am talking about like why I do things, on why I do such a way, like my thought process behind it and stuff like that. Like basically I'm just trying to commentate as much as possible on my fire run. So this one is my fire. If you're wondering what grid am I using for my fire, you can just check my description below and just look at my loadouts, because yeah, it's there. But if anyone's wondering, in short, I am using a prom grid. I am using Athena, Zeta, and Anira. The main reason why I use that, because I don't think I can use any other setups for this, for my specific setup, is also because that I kind of like how Zeta works when she gets a full limit break. I like her dispels. I like her delays. It's just really good, and not to mention it also allows the Earth player to not force themselves to run Sarasa. So I can actually do the whole plane damage labor with Zeta. So that's good. And the main reason why you want to use Anira majority of the time, because people really like that debuffs, because overall they just take lesser damage, and not to mention you can clear some labors relatively fast and easy and stuff like that. So it's pretty nice. And plus she can also help heal, I guess, a little bit. I mean, her S3 buff is kind of like whatever, honestly, because you can't technically get dispelled from that. You know, like, yeah, you'll see it later. So yeah. And another thing is like, you don't really have to run Athena, but Athena is like, it's such a huge QOL in fire setups, I would say, because I just really like her wind switch, her refresh, her armored. She also gets the extra 40% wind cut whenever she presses her S1 for the first time, and then she can also consistently provide lots of DPS with her S2 nukes, automated S2 nukes, because she always gets hit. She will always gonna be targeted, and it will always just cast her S2 no matter what. So pretty much you just get her, you just pass through fighters and she can permanently just nuke throughout the entire raid. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And then she has delays as well. So if you kind of notice, this whole team is filled with delays, so you don't really have to go through a lot of Ogies and stuff. And also because I'm the fire player this time, I am gonna go through labors later, so I'm gonna just mention that again later. But another thing, I am running both sub and dispel. If I recall correctly, I am running sub and dispel, and then hardened shield for my MC, if anyone's wondering. But yeah, there are plenty of other characters you can consider, but I really like these characters, so you can just use whatever. For me, I really like just having both, like the two slots basically is Athena and Anira. The last slot, you can pretty much slot in whatever. You can just slot in even the likes of Valentine's Scat. I'm planning to try her in future, but I can totally see her working anyway. Yeah, you don't really have to use Zeta. You can even use like Frau. You can use like fucking Acer. You can use blah 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 blah. You can use Ulysses, whatever. You can use a lot of characters. I think I even put out like a work in progress list in my tier list. You can kind of see the characters that I slot in for whatever characters that are relatively nice that you can fit in for Far and shit. Yeah, you can probably pick it from the list or whatever, but yeah, that's just a heads up. So anyway, let's just start. So at the start is relatively simple. I just want to buff and then hit S1 immediately, just so nobody has to wait for debuffs. So just press that immediately, and then here's the strat for my case though. I know not really many people do this, but I do press what's that, Zeta's skills or her combo shit, because you have to press all of the skills all at once, right? So you have to press it all at one go. But for my case, I'm gonna do it all at once right now, because what I'm gonna do is that I will try to pass through 6 turns to go all the way until before 50. So I have to get 6 turns before then. That's the strat. And then I did Langs first, and I also blue pot at the beginning because I have no HP. I don't have any other way to heal me up. So that's what I did. I just blue pot, and yeah, so typically this part, like the same, I just wait for the first Ogi, just wait for Langses and stuff. This first few turns is usually very, very straightforward. So what I'm planning to do here, because as you can see, my Fire's team's HP is not relatively healthy. So what I'm gonna do is that I am gonna hit sub. Right now I'm just literally waiting for the person to take a free turn or whatever shit, and then I'm just waiting for a Lang. So once the Lang pops up, I'm just gonna hit sub and just go through. But if you're not doing that, you can typically also press Athena S1 or some shit if you want, but because I'm running sub, I'm just gonna press that first. So yeah, press sub and proceed through. Bam. And also because I'm taking no turns, usually at that point you kind of want to wait a little bit because there's no debuffs, right? As you can see, there's no debuffs. You usually kind of want to wait first for the wind to debuff, but I just say fuck it. I'm not taking any damage anyway, so I'm just gonna go through. And a lot of times for fire is actually somewhat okay to go through Iblis, is because Anira's S3 buff provides debuff resistance. So there's a very, very high chance that you will experience what I'm experiencing right now, where I have no debuffs at all, because I did went through Iblis at that part. So but usually at this point you kind of have like other people going through Iblis, so they might clear for you and stuff like that, so it's not really a problem. So at that point I waited for the wing to Ogi as long as I have a Lang. So at this part I blue pot again. At this point it can be very scary because I've already used 2 blue pots, right? I have no blue pots anymore. So that's one of the main reasons why you kind of want to be that person that goes through labor, right? Because if not, you just take through triggers after triggers, and if you do not have the sustain, you just eventually die, right? So yeah, so once now at this point they have already gone through. I have also delayed. If you didn't notice earlier, I did use my MC to delay because I've already gone through the first Iblis, so delay is the way to go. And because as you all know, my fire team, all 4 of them including MC, has a delay. So my whole strat is to just keep delaying, so I just don't have to take any OEs. So if somehow you're in that position where you just, the RNG is totally up your ass or some shit, and the delay doesn't work for shit, then well, nothing can be done. You just have to use Anira S1 or having the sub or whatever. That's why it's there. It's just so you can actually take a turn safely and stuff like that. So at this point, I'm just waiting for gravity and such, and also hopefully it lands on the main body, because as you can tell, I'm only at 1 diamond right now. And if there's no gravity, it would suck. So there we go. Gravity landed, thankfully. So I'm just waiting for a Langs right now, and I dispel the stupid orange thingy. You always have to dispel that orange thingy, keep that in mind. The first time around, I did dispel with Zeta, if you didn't know, so because Zeta does dispel on both targets and shit. So yeah, and then the same old thing. You want to not Ogi, especially if you're fire. You really do not want to Ogi when you have yellow apple buff, because that shit probably are gonna kick your ass so hard, because it does 10,000 plain damage per Ogi, right? So you're gonna take 10,000 damage. If I Ogi, my Anira is gonna be sitting at 5,000 HP, so you don't really want to do that. So now my Langs is up. I could have actually pressed like what's that? Athena S2 as well, but it doesn't really matter there. And another thing is like you also want to get enough turns just so you can like see, this is a good spot for me. This is a very good spot for me because I have already managed to cycle Zeta's skills. I also managed to cycle Anira's skills. So once I'm past through 50, it should be no problem. I can help debuff as well, so it's okay. That's why, as also like a earth player, not earth player. If you're a fire player, you're in this position, right? You really need to not be too reserve on taking your turns, because you have to cycle turns. You have to, especially if you're using the likes of like the one I'm using, like Zeta and Anira, right? The Athena is basically there just to give you extra like sustain in case shit happens, like, you know, like I said earlier, if all the so-called delays whiff entirely, then her S2, then you must Ogi as well to get the extra armor, so later on you just don't take too much damage and shit like that. So yeah, so this one is still relatively okay. I'm just waiting for them to be ready. So at this point, I really don't want to nuke so much, because I do want to save that current nuke that I have to go through 50 relatively safely, or at least not needing Langs or whatever, so I can do, like, you know, enough damage or whatever shit. So at this point, I see the wings is already at 52. I know for a fact that I will be able to go through. And the other thing is that the one thing you have to keep in mind, if you're the fire player and you're the one going through labors, right? If you're doing that, never buff yourself before then. Okay? Like, for example, Anira's S1 or whatever shit, never buff yourself before then, because you're 100% gonna get dispelled. Because Paradise Lost Laborers is going to be up later after this turn, so you're going to get dispelled immediately. So you want to buff, you should do that much later when maybe Paradise Lost is done, or maybe you just do like some pseudo buff to yourself and just get it up or whatever. I know for a fact that I usually have this habit where I always do, once I trigger the said Laborers, so once I do that, I tend to always press the Anira's S3 at that point, but you don't really have to follow what I do. But usually at that point, I just do it because why not? And not to mention, another thing is that it's not just the labors can screw you up. Is that the one strat I'm also trying to aim for when I'm using this specific setup is that I want to get the wing, the green apple buff. So as you can see, I just went through labors. So should be fine. Went through labors, and I'm not sure is this the specific one if I fuck up or not. So at this point, what you want to do is that you want to just Anira S1 and then cast your shit with Zeta, right? Because you want to get that labor number 7 disappear immediately. So you just press that so-called I think it's her 4th skill. Yeah, her 4th skill is the plain damage one, and you have to keep in mind that I may have fuck up or some shit, because you have to, it's single target and you only need to press it on the main body, but I may have clicked it too fast. So yeah, as you can see, I have like that habit to press it immediately after that, but it's probably going to get dispelled anyway, but I just say fuck it altogether. Yeah, see, oh yeah, I did do that. Oh wait, did I do that? Yes, I did do that. Oh wait, I already did that. Oh yeah, so I already cleared the 7 labor. So you just need to press the 7 thing twice on the main body. So after that, you can just do whatever. I just went to focus on the wing, because we all know that it's better off focusing on the wing instead. So at this point, Earth guy has already gone through. Right now, we're just trying to set up, waiting for Langs and shit. So yeah, I'm just going through, blah blah blah, attacking. And we, as you all know, because I'm the guy that triggers the labor thingy, you do not have to worry about anything. 95 trigger, 85 trigger, 60 trigger. Don't have to worry about that at all. That's why. So I'm not worried about, because you know, usually you kind of, there's phosphorus at 95, right? But nah, you don't have to worry about that. And for some reason, my fucking Zeta almost died there. So I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, my sub is up right now. And then I noticed that his overdrive is up as well. So at this point, my plan is to get him to Ogi with my MC sub and Langs, of course. So for now, same thing, just waiting for Langs. Just wait for Langs. Yeah, wait for Langs. And I do not want to delay it anymore, because, you know, like I said earlier, I am planning to go for the green apple strat for this. So I see, I just pressed sub So yeah, take no damage, blah 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 with Langs. So there I got dispelled there. And yeah. So at this point again, you dispel the main body. Make sure you keep the stupid Evangelist Blade on the main body of Far as low as possible. You really don't want to see it above 3, because once it goes above 3, it can be very, very scary. So at this point in time again, I am waiting for Langs again, because my Langs, as you can see, I'm 1 turn off. So I'm just checking like how's my cooldowns and stuff like that, and just waiting and see how my other raid members is doing. So I'm just like, yeah, communicating. So if you're still relatively new and you haven't done this before with your buddies or whatever shit, yeah, you kind of want to communicate a lot. So the main reason why I actually hit Athena, usually because another thing is that because Athena is a fire summon, so the cooldown isn't as long compared to other summons as well. So I did that just to negate some sort of damage, right? I don't want to take too much damage here, and also I kind of also do it just because there are probably people that may actually need Athena for that set 95. So that's why I just decided to do it anyway, because I'm fairly certain that I can actually recycle back my Athena for 60 much later, because that's the important one that you want to have Athena summon for, right? So yeah, so it triggers the green apple buff. So thankfully I still have Anira S3 up and running, so I did not get zombie fight there, so it's good. So what I did is that I just healed myself up, because as you all know, I had no blue pots anymore. I still have 2 green pots, but I have no blue pots. So what I ended up doing is that I just heal myself there, because there's no other way. So I decided to Langs. I think I kind of save up my Athena S1 for later, because I was thinking that maybe we might be out of Langses or some shit at that part. And then, okay, so at this point, if you didn't know, the Paradise Lost has already been completed. Someone has already done Paradise Lost, and also because that's one of the main reasons why we started attacking again quite a bit earlier. So we were just literally waiting for the guy to do his Paradise Lost. So now that it's over, you will not get dispelled anymore. You will never get dispelled anymore, if I recall correctly, yeah. So at this point of time, it's actually quite safe if you want to do the whole Athena prom combo or bunkle combo, because I do have a full Lumen Break Prometheus in my grid, because I am using Prometheus, I'm using Typhoon, Baha, and Athena. So yeah, that's what I did, because yeah, that's what I did. So I take 0 damage here, and because I could literally try to cycle for take a free turn right here, just so I can get my Langs back up, because I got a feeling that there are quite a few cases where you probably be stuck on Langses and you want to take a free turn and shit, right? So I just say, you know what, let me take a free turn and stuff. So at this point, as you can see, I'm just not taking any damage at all, because I have Wind Switch, it's not going to get dispelled. I have extra refresh, I have like the Langs as well. So I'm just going to take 0 damage throughout this entire part. And then also I noticed that my Anira S1 is back up. I was also looking the fact that, oh, the debuffs are all gone. So at this point, because you see the main body is still relatively healthy, right? It's actually okay. actually okay. actually okay to do it. And if you're wondering why I paused here, is because I actually panicked there, because we have like the stupid, oops, I actually pressed the wrong button. There's like a little glitch that happens where if you're pressing skills and the wing dies at the exact same time, you can get glitched. So I'm really thankful that I did not get that. It did not gone through the turn, because there's a chance that you might happen that way. So press all buttons as Zeta. I think you can typically press all buttons for Zeta until like maybe 50% or some shit. Yeah, I think around 50% you kind of want to not press too many buttons. Press the combos for Zeta. So at this point it's actually the very smooth sailing and very straightforward for fire players, because like I said before, you're not going through any form of triggers, so it's very, very straightforward. You just need to deal with this normal Ogi. because at this point we did already kill off the wing, and the Ogi is called Orbital Blackness, and Orbital Blackness is relatively okay if you do not have like high Evangelist stacks, because as you can see I have no Evangelist stacks anymore, so it should be no problem at all. Now, as always, waiting for a Langs. Always the number one problem. Just waiting for a Langs. There we go. Then I can attack again. But I'm thinking whether if I want to cast Baha or not. But I did. So there you go. I cleared the pool because there's a shitty ass Bunkle in there. So yeah, this part until 25 is relatively smooth sailing for a fire. You don't really have to worry too much. You just need to worry about not taking too much damage from like either plane damage or like taking like Ogis after Ogis or whatever. That's why at this point, right, you just want to delay as much as possible, so you just don't take Ogis at all. So you don't really have to continue dispelling the main body or whatnot. You just keep going through. Then if you really need to take a turn or whatever shit, there's always sub, because you see at this point my sub has been up for quite some time. I could just sub into Ogi whatever is if needed, but nah, it's not really needed. So at this point in time, I'm just waiting for a Lang so I can just attack again. Simple as that. So this whole part probably can be skipped until like 25 because it's very, very straightforward. Even like cycling between like summons and all that is kind of like whatever. So this part, I know I'm just trying to get some extra turn in. So yeah, as you can see, it is going to be Phosphorus. It's not overdrive, so I decided to sub there because Phosphorus is very, very painful, and I do not want it to land on Anira because it will land on Anira. At this point of time, Phosphorus will land on the lowest HP character, and as you can see, Anira is the lowest HP character. I do not want her to get hit, so I decided to sub. And because my sub is up, and I'm fairly certain, and because it's only like 66%, right? It's still fairly safe. I'm pretty certain I can get my sub back up relatively quickly. So yeah. And also at this part, as you can see, my Athena is already up. And I decided to dispel again just to keep the stupid thing down. And because, yeah, see, my Athena is already back up, right? See, that's one of the things that I was mentioning earlier. It's very, very good to at least get your turns in. If you're too reserved on the turns you're not able to cycle, you can't provide shit to your raid members, so everyone just gets stuck. It can be a bad thing. You really do not want to be in that situation, so yeah, keep that in mind. So at this point, I am just trying to go through extra turns or whatever shit. If I'm just saving up my Athena if anyone needs to go through like 60 or whatever. So at this point, I'm just like waiting for a Langs again. Very straightforward. There we go, Langs. But I'm thinking like someone's probably gonna nuke, so I was thinking whether do you want me to go through. So nobody's attacking, so I decided, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go through. I'm not gonna do too much damage anyway. It's probably gonna be at 61. Yeah. So at this part, I was asking where is the pool clear or whatever. Does anyone need a Athena or some shit? I can provide. But if not, if nobody needs, then yeah, you can just... Yeah, at this point, I just decided to nuke again with Zeta. Because I already saw it was 58, right? At that point, I was thinking like, why don't I just go through with Langs and shit? Maybe I can push it closer to 55 so people can just ignore 60 altogether. So there's really no reason for me to actually bother with Athena. But like, because someone did say they wanted Athena or some shit, I decided to just pump it up. Or decided because it's already 50% or at least 55, because 55 full fills up the charge diamonds. And because nobody cares about the Athena anymore, I just decided to just use it so I just don't take any damage, right? And yeah, another smooth sailing part here. And because it's already 44, I think I don't really want to nuke here. Because there are times where I am considering whether should I nuke or not. So I'm here Langsing because my Langs is back up and people are asking for it, so Langs. So I'm saving my nukes. It's a lot better. Sometimes you have to save your nukes because there are people wanting to like take extra turns or whatever shit when it's closing into like 25. So yeah, I'm just Baha whatever shit for no reason. I think this is also the point where I decided to green pot Anira, I think. Or I decided to nuke after all. Because I was thinking, the DPS is relatively slow, right? So maybe I can still nuke one more time. But actually, in my opinion, that was actually a bad time to nuke because it's already at 30%. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna use the Typhoon because it's already 30%, right? I was thinking like, maybe at that point, if it's like not so bad yet, I could still like go through extra turns or whatever shit. And as you can see, I did green pot Anira already. So I just did extra turns so I could push it closer to 25. And you see at this point, it's actually a very good indicator if you're wondering. If Zeta's S1 is already back up, right? Basically all these other skills are one turn away to refreshing. So yeah, at that point you just wait for, I know for a fact it's gonna be at 25 or whatever shit. So it's better for me to just either auto attack or you just nuke. Because it really depends on how strong your setup is or whatever for your raid party. Because there are times where I think it doesn't really matter. I just said, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking nuke or something here, and I debuff S1. But I think it wasn't half bad of a debuff. Yeah, so I decided to you know what? I'm just gonna nuke, just gonna prom because you know it's gonna speed up and stuff like that, right? So yeah, I'm just gonna nuke. Fuck it, nuke. It's already 15 anyway, so just nuke. Bam, nuke. So this is also the part where it's a really good time for me to press all my Zeta's buttons. Yep, there it is. Press all the buttons. For some reason I cancelled. Because I was also wondering whether this part is the one where, you know, I was just asking, hey, you know what, can I get like one turn in or some shit? Because it's still 12%, it's relatively safe for me to take a turn anyway. So yeah, dispel, press all Zeta buttons, so it should be hitting it closer to 10%. Because usually at this point, you kinda just want to try to race for DPS. Racing with DPS is very, very important here, because if you do not have enough DPS, you might just eventually die out. And if you're wondering, S1 with Athena and Lance does allow you to go through Paradise Lost at 10%, relatively okay. It's very, very safe, you will not die. Yep. Bam. Then I got Anira S1 back up again, so even though it's almost dead already, I decided to do it anyway. So I just press all the buttons because I think it's already going to be the end. But at this point, you can also ask your raid members whether if they can still go through safely, because 3% is another Paradise Lost. So if they can go through safely, then just let them do it instead of you. Because you know for a fact that the moment I click the attack button, it's gonna hit Paradise Lost and I'm going to die. And you do not want to kill off the raid like that if you know you don't have enough nukes or some shit at the end. So yeah, simple, right? Earth is actually quite simple. It can be overwhelming at the start because, as you can tell earlier, if you've been watching, you'll be seeing a lot of like times where your HP is just super freaking low. So that can be a very, very scary thing, I think, for a lot of people. That's one of the main reasons why I would like to actually aim for the green apple buff, just so I can keep my HP up and running, and I do not really require like any more pots or whatever. Those remaining pots is just the green pots at that point is just really geared towards like whether my character got really unlucky with the plane damage or whatever shit, or any autos that just nukes on just one character, so I can just green pot that character back up. So yeah, it's pretty relatively easy if you have like the character setup, or you have like you really know what to do. So that's pretty much how I tend to do my fire strat for my fire runs, I mean. So that's pretty much how it is for my fire runs. Yeah, you potentially could also do it with Magna in future, because if you're using like AES grids or whatever, because by the time of this recording, AES is not full limit break yet. So maybe you could wait a little bit more to get that full limit break, and then you can run Magna too, because it is possible for you to run Magna and you should be okay at that time. And yeah, damage should not really be a problem if you really know what you're doing. You just really need to familiarize yourself in terms of how the runs go and all that. So it's relatively easy for fire as well if you know what you're doing, but it can be hard. I don't really have, oh good lord, excuse me, I don't exactly have the footage of one of the previous ones that I had that I failed, if I recall correctly, but I could potentially somewhat show that as well, but I'm sorry I couldn't find that, because it was one of those runs where I had to hard carry the raid relatively hard, and I was using fire as well. It was one of those runs where I was running my current fire grid and I went all the way until 3 million honors or something. It was hell, but I did eventually fail that run, unfortunately. It was like, I think near the end or some shit. It was like near 10% someone screwed up or something and then fucked up the entire run. I was relatively sad for that one, but yeah. Anyway, that's my commentary on Faa-san runs or some shit. I hope you guys enjoy this mini series on commentating on like what I tend to do in Faa on specific elements. Hopefully you guys find that helpful, I suppose. And yeah, do like and subscribe, I guess, and leave in the comments how much you like Tabina, because Tabina support.